Well, it's a very warm welcome back to second half independent off-tube studio commentary from the game at the Emirates, where it's goalless between Arsenal and Brentford, and the Arsenal players and fans must be wondering how, because certainly in terms of the possession and the intent in the first half, Arsenal would have felt they were certainly value for a lead of some sort. But that said, didn't force David Raya into too many saves. It was more his defenders having to clear a number of balls in, a number of set pieces, corner kicks for Arsenal. By and large, Brentford soaked up the pressure pretty well, but they weren't able to respond with anything from their own side. Virtually no attacking threat from the Bees in the first 45. So we'll see how things pan out in the second. No changes for either side. So for Arsenal, Aaron Ramsdale in goal. Back four of Cedric Soares, Ben White, Gabriel and Kieran Tierney. Three in midfield, Martin Odegaard, Thomas Partey and Granit Xhaka, with Bukayo Saka, Emile Smith-Rowe and Alexandre Lacazette as the three up front for Brentford. David Raya in goal, a back three of Christopher Ajer, Pontus Jansson and Ethan Pinnock. The two wide men are Sergi Canos and Rico Henry. The three in midfield, there was a change just before the break, with Vitaly Janelt coming on for Matthias Jensen. Injury to Jensen meant that he couldn't carry on, and the Norgaard and Justice Silva make up the midfield, with Johan Visser and Brian Mbeumo as the two up front. On paper they have got two up front, Brentford, this afternoon, but in actual fact it's almost like they've joined the midfield here, Visser and Mbeumo, because there's virtually nothing happening up front for the Bees. But Arsenal just getting bogged down a little bit at the edge of their own penalty area, trying to play out from the back, a bit more pressing from Brentford, which we need to see really. Arsenal were far too comfortable in playing out from the back in the first half. Poor clearance there from Ramsdale, drove straight to Canos. De Silva then finds Visser, breaks into the box. Visser's cross gets a slight deflection, which could have caused problems for Ramsdale, but he dives on it and makes a comfortable save. Ramsdale in the end just rushed his initial clearance. Ball came straight back, but he was able to deal with it after that cross came in from Johan Visser. Arsenal just haven't really got going in this second half as yet, but they certainly won't be worried considering the way that they played in the first. Lacazette now in midfield here for the Gunners. Spots a bit of space for Smith-Rowe down the left-hand side. He gets to the edge of the area, has options here. Smith-Rowe goes for the shot, and he easily beats David Raya. It was all too easy, really. Smith-Rowe with a lovely finish, just curling the ball past the Brentford keeper. But it was always going to be the case that at some point Arsenal were going to get a chance to take the lead. And now, with just 3 minutes on the clock in the second half, it is Arsenal 1, Brentford 0. Disappointing from the Bees' point of view, but Smith-Rowe had a good first half. He's having a good time of it in general in Arsenal colours right at the moment, isn't he? And we see that Lacazette just picks the ball up in midfield, and there is no covering. I'm not sure where Sergi Canos has gone, but there's so much space here for Smith-Rowe to just cut in onto his right foot and then guide the ball past David Raya. Brentford needed to show more in terms of going forward, but this is just far too open, and it's been a problem for Brentford throughout the season. Smith-Rowe able to capitalise. It really is a very smart finish from the Gunners' number 10, but certainly from Brentford's point of view, they'll be very disappointed at the manner in which that goal was conceded. I suppose the only positive, if you can look at it this way, from Brentford's point of view, is that it has been it is very, very early in the second half, so in theory the Bees have got time to try and make up this scoreline. But with Burnley 2 up away at Brighton, means that that's another side behind Brentford who are potentially going to be picking up 3 points today. Burnley have games in hand on the Bees as well. But Smith-Rowe gives the Gunners the lead. Now it's down to Brentford to try and step up and do something to actually put some real pressure on this Arsenal defence. Meanwhile, we have another early goal in the Premier League elsewhere, with Southampton taking a lead in the 53rd minute against Everton. Everton did actually have the ball in the net on 47 minutes in the second half, but Calvert-Lewin's effort was disallowed for offside. Just waiting for confirmation of the goal scorer. But here at the Emirates, Arsenal have given the ball away, and Visser is off down the middle, tries an early shot from a long way out, doesn't do anything really to trouble Aaron Ramsdale there. An easy standing save, and now Xhaka finds Odegaard, and here is Bukayo Saka down the right-hand side here for Arsenal, breaking into the penalty area, leaves it here for Xhaka. Saka back to Xhaka. Now it's with Smith-Rowe, left-hand edge of the penalty area, stands the cross up, good header away by Pontus Jansson. Drops in midfield, straight to Kieran Tierney. Tierney now out towards Smith-Rowe, down the left-hand side. Just checks his run and goes back towards the halfway line here for Gabriel and Ben White. It was Stuart Armstrong that had given Southampton the lead against Everton, who themselves need to start picking up a few points. That first game for Frank Lampard was against Brentford in the FA Cup, and they dispatched the Bees easily, winning 4-1. But that then followed with that disappointing defeat away at Newcastle. And you want to just get a little bit more out of his players here, Frank Lampard. Again, they're just hovering above relegation trouble as it stands. But with that win for Burnley, all the sides above are going to be looking a bit more nervously. Here come Arsenal now through the middle. Lacazette has his pass just picked off at the edge of the Brentford penalty area. It's now with Josh Da Silva, who was clearly fouled there by Thomas Partey. Free kick to Brentford. This game, of course, is at least 2 or 3 minutes behind the others. We had almost 5 minutes of injury time in the first half. So this game will probably be finishing a little bit later than all the others. Certainly started a little bit later in the second half. Just to remind you as well that it's the 5:30 kickoff in the Premier League this evening. Is the small matter of Man City against Spurs. Should be a fascinating encounter there. But back to the action here at the Emirates Stadium. It's back now with David Raya. Long clearance from the Bees keeper, and that one is out for a throw. Although Xhaka did his best to try and keep it in play, heads it out. It's a throw to Brentford now. Aya's throw goes to Josh Da Silva, who's dispossessed almost immediately. And now the ball played back towards Aaron Ramsdale. Long clearance from him down the middle before Pontus Jansson nods that ball back towards David Raya. The visitors just enjoying a little bit more of the ball now. Of course, Arsenal sitting a little bit deeper now that they know that they have this 1-goal lead. That's a really risky ball from Raya, looking for Visser. It was almost picked off by Martin Odegaard, but Brentford do keep possession. Here's the substitute Vitaly Janelt with a lofty ball. That's a really poor ball from Janelt to Rico Henry. No surprise, the German midfielder there straight away puts his hand up to apologise. And Brian Reamer there, the assistant, just talking to his manager Thomas Frank, and they must be getting a little bit concerned here now. In terms of this game, as I say, this was always going to be a game where anything that Brentford got out of it would have been a bonus. But it's just the style of play. It's whether or not they can suddenly change into a more attack mode, because as we saw earlier today, Newcastle were very well organised in the game away at West Ham, and would have felt as though they were value for that 1 point. That's Brentford's next game is at home to Newcastle. Arsenal's next game is in midweek, and they take on Wolves. But it's a free kick to Brentford here, taken by Rico Henry. Visser straight away under pressure from Thomas Partey. The ball then to Mbeumo is picked off by Ben White, and Arsenal straight away on the attack now with Odegaard. Shouldered off the ball by Vitaly Janelt. Too much, says the referee. Interesting that from John Moss. The older shoulder to shoulder seems to have been a lot more lenient this season for players whereby referees don't always give a free kick, but on this occasion John Moss deciding there was just a bit too much there from Janelt. Short free kick between Xhaka and Odegaard. Partey now over towards Cedric on the right-hand side. He lifts the ball into the box. It's over the head of everybody, and then it's Canos is just going to let this go out for a throw-on. Thought about controlling when there was a bit of pace on the ball, and he was probably a bit concerned that there was an Arsenal man close by. So he felt like leaving here as Thomas Frank now in discussion with another one of his assistants, one of his coaching staff. So he'll be a little bit... it would have been disappointed that Brentford conceded so early in the second half, and Arsenal now just trying to build on their possession inside the Brentford half, as it's with Tierney down the left. Finds goal scorer Smith-Rowe. Back to Tierney. Early cross first time. That's a really strange header from Pinnock. He could have headed the ball away, but he headed it across his own penalty area. Drops to Lacazette, who then goes back to Tierney. Da Silva then's able to dispossess him, and Brentford now can finally break out as Visser is taken down. Referee John Moss plays the advantage. Aya keeps the ball alive, but that pass to Visser is overhit. No chance for the Bees number 11 to get on the end of that one. Back now with Aaron Ramsdale inside to Thomas Partey. Partey under pressure there from Janelt. Been frustrated and not starting. That's a strong challenge there from Cedric on Rico Henry, and the referee has waited a few seconds before he gave that decision. And certainly the Arsenal fans alongside that on the far touchline from the TV pictures that we're getting were furious. It's always the same with players and supporters. If the referee waits more than a second to give a decision, there's always going to be a thought that perhaps the players have influenced him in some way, that he suddenly changed his mind. I did think that the challenge from Cendric was a very industrial one, to put it diplomatically. Does he get the ball? No, I don't think he does. There's not too much control in the slide challenge there on Henry either. And certainly, see from this replay, no, I'm not sure he gets any of the ball. I don't think it's certainly never going to be a red card. I'm not even sure if John Moss is going to book him for this, but it should really be a free kick to Brentford. And John Moss just waiting a moment here. I don't think there was ever going to be any danger of a VAR checking this for a red card. No yellow card was given. It's a free kick to Brentford. It's over on the left-hand side, but Arsenal are playing a very high offside line to make it difficult here. Ball now floated to the edge of the D. Good header away, though, by Thomas Partey, and that's a head injury or maybe even a foul there from Pinnock as he crashed in. One number 5 bumping into another. Pontus Jansson and Gabriel having a little bit of afters there as well. But looks like that's all been diffused. And just wait and see now if Thomas Partey is okay. He's okay to play on or not. Just being checked over by his teammates. The physios are going to come on to have a look as well. So just to remind you, very few goals across the Premier League 3 o'clock kickoffs. It is still goalless between Aston Villa and Watford. It's goalless between Palace and Chelsea. But we do have goals elsewhere. So Arsenal now do lead against Brentford by 1-0. In this game, it's Brighton 0, Burnley 2. It's I can tell you as well, this goal must have just been scored out after the break. Must admit I missed this one. Norwich lead away at Liverpool through Rashika. He gets the goal to put Norwich 1 up in that game. So potentially a big slip up there for Liverpool. And Southampton do lead against Everton after that goal from Stuart Armstrong. So slowly but surely, games are picking up now. And wait to see how the rest of the afternoon pans out. But potentially a couple of shocks there, a couple of coupon busters. That's Liverpool 0, Norwich 1. Really is a very surprising scoreline. There's still plenty of time there for Jurgen Klopp's men to recover. Meanwhile, here at the Emirates, it's Arsenal on the attack. Smith-Rowe just touches a ball back towards Xhaka, and then it's Tierney's ball into the penalty area. Quickly cleared away by Christopher Ayer, out for a throw to Arsenal now down the left-hand side. Tierney just waits to start play here. Doesn't have too many options. Then is Odegaard. He tries a slightly longer throw to Xhaka. Xhaka does well to control it in the box, but has to play it back towards Tierney. Tierney's cross then deflects off Josh Da Silva, and that is out for a corner kick to Arsenal. So building up the pressure again on this Brentford goal. 58 minutes gone, independent off Tube Studio commentary. Arsenal lead by 1-0. Not seen any kind of real response from Brentford so far, certainly not in terms of anything that Aaron Ramsdale would need to worry about. Arsenal lead 10-0 in terms of corner kicks in this game. So the Gunners have hit double figures in terms of corners before Brentford have even had one. And it is going to be Cedric to whip this in now. Right-footed in-swinger from the left-hand side. Aimed at the edge of the 6-yard box. Pinnock with the header away. It drops straight to Thomas Partey. The invitation to hit it on the volley was there, but he's a right footer hitting it with his left foot. Slightly off balance, slightly rushed. And in the end we can see that there was not much danger of that one. In fact, she actually catches it on the bounce as well, so it's always rising there from Partey. And a goal kick now to be taken by David Raya. Just beckoning his teammates to get a bit further forward. Doesn't want to play out from the back. I think you can see that it's too risky here. Long clearance from Raya up to the halfway line. That just drops straight to Smith-Rowe. And he plays it into Lacazette, who's off down the left-hand side. Canos doing his best to try and stop him. Lacazette keeps the ball alive, but Mbuemo is back. He is able to pick off Lacazette's pass. Norgaard then is robbed of it far too easily by Partey. Ball drops to Bukayo Saka, whose bouncing effort is saved by David Raya. Never looked like Raya had too many problems with that one. Able to get down and make a comfortable save. Meanwhile, at Anfield, Liverpool have equalised against Norwich City. Sadio Mane with the goal there for Liverpool. So that is in fact the first game in the 3 o'clock kickoffs where both sides have scored. So it really is taking a while for the games to develop this afternoon. But in the meantime, Brentford have cleared their lines And it's Josh De Silva trying to close down Aaron Ramsdale, but easy clearance there for the Gunners keeper. Pontus Jansson heads it on. It almost ended up like a good ball through towards Mbeumo, but the ball just gets away from him. Arsenal now back in possession with Smith-Rowe. Tierney playing it back towards Aaron Ramsdale, and he spots some space down the right here for Cedric. Immediately being closed down by Visser. Brentford are trying to press a little bit higher up the field to potentially try and pick off a loose ball, but Arsenal, being Arsenal, they're so comfortable on the ball. Just as I say that, though, Odegaard is actually robbed of it, and ball now played back quickly towards Raya. Odegaard closing him down, but Raya still able to clear it down the middle. Ben White heads that one away, drops towards Xhaka. He heads it to Partey, who goes back towards Cedric, and then Cedric volleys that one unnecessarily towards the penalty area. You could see at least 3 or 4 Arsenal players just doing that sort of calm down, putting their hands down, saying, look, there's no need for that. It is just gifting the ball back to Brentford, but Brentford, as they have been this afternoon, gift it straight back to Arsenal. Norgaard loses the ball far too easily, and now Xhaka plays it square back to Odegaard, and Norgaard trying to clear. And Rico Henry there just colliding with Saka. He kept his balance. There could have been an argument there potentially for a penalty. Ball is put into the penalty area. It's headed away by Canos. A follow-up effort there from Kieran Tierney. Gets a slight deflection, and that is away for another corner kick to Arsenal. Let's just see if there's any argument here. Does Henry bring down Saka? Well, Saka hit the deck and then got up quickly, sort of lost his balance for a moment, but was still able to carry on his run until eventually the ball was struck by Tierney and deflected out for a corner kick. Gabriel, Thomas Partey and Ben White all stood together just at the edge of the penalty area, trying to charge towards the 6-yard box to get on the end of this cross from Cedric, but that's a really good claim from David Raya. Could have potentially dropped that ball, but he's able to make the save as Liverpool now take the lead against Norwich. They've gone from 1-0 down to 2-1 up inside 20 minutes of that second half, and it's Mo Salah with the goal for Liverpool there. So normal service being resumed at Anfield. At the Emirates, though, it is Brentford briefly in possession inside the Arsenal half, but just not really able to make any real inroads to put pressure on this Arsenal defence, let alone the Arsenal keeper. Ramsdale's had a very quiet afternoon so far. And ball now back with Ethan Pinnock. Finds Johan Visser. Movement ahead of him. Visser trying to spot the run of Canos, and that's a good ball to pick out Sergi Canos. Canos then puts a left-footed cross in, which is too low for Mbeumo, headed away by Ben White. There's a bit of a collision there in midfield. Referee thought about a free kick, but says that Arsenal should still have the advantage. They don't get the advantage after the attempted clearance there from Thomas Partey is picked off by one of the Brentford players. Xhaka was brought down, and the referee looked like he was considering a free kick there for Arsenal. Then he played the advantage, and literally a split second later Arsenal lost the ball. So John Moss deciding to bring this back. It'll be a free kick to Arsenal. Xhaka has now picked himself up. Looks like he is okay to play on. The ball played back towards Ramsdale. Clearance now just gets away from Saka, but Odegaard keeps the ball alive. Norgaard trying to dispossess Odegaard, but again, just he's had a poor game this afternoon, Norgaard, for Brentford. One of their more steady, dependable central midfielders. He actually scored in the game against Arsenal on opening night. It was his header from a throw that made it 2-0 after Sergi Canos had opened the scoring in the first half. That was a real golden moment for Brentford, playing their first Premier League game at their new stadium in front of a full stadium as well. It looked like such a promising start to the season, but things just unravelling for the Bees in the last couple of months. And certainly they need to pick up some points from somewhere just to make sure that they're not sucked into further relegation worries. Right now it's with Gabriel, and Mbeumo trying to do his best to put him under pressure, but Gabriel easily able to go back towards goalkeeper Ramsdale. Now it's with Tierney down the left. Back towards Gabriel. Long clearance from him up towards the halfway line. Ayer controls that one though, finds Norgaard, and now it's with Vitaly Janelt. Back to Ethan Pinnock on the halfway line. And Mbeumo under pressure there from Ben White. Is it back to Pinnock Forward now to Sergi Canos, who does well to spin away from pressure from Granit Xhaka. Finds Aya, and now De Silva down the right-hand side. De Silva playing a quick 1-2 with Visser. Just a little bit too close to Gabriel, though. Xhaka now able to start a quick counter-attack for Arsenal, as Odegaard asks too much of Bukayo Saka. But he's no slouch, let's face it. Saka's a very quick player, but on that occasion, Odegaard just asked a bit too much of him. No way he was getting on the end of that through ball. Brentford now back in possession with Aya down the right-hand side, plays it into De Silva, who's immediately challenged, and then Norgaard crashes into Odegaard. That's 2 or 3 times now where Norgaard has done that, and the referee allows play to go on. Arsenal still in possession here down the left. Smith-Rowe back into Odegaard at the edge of the area. Turns and then finds Thomas Partey. Odegaard over towards Cedric now on the right-hand side. In now towards Saka. Cedric carries on his run, puts a cross in, which is stopped on the line, and it's going to be yet another corner kick to Arsenal, unless that get a final touch off Cedric maybe. And certainly Cedric's got his arm up and apologised. I don't know if that's because he could have laid the ball off a bit quicker to find a teammate. We'll see from this replay. No, that must be a corner, so it's just a case of Cedric perhaps acknowledging that he should have picked out a teammate a little bit quicker. It is going to be a corner kick. Burnley have a third away at Brighton. A big result that for Sean Dyche's side. Confirmed the third goal scorer just a moment. It was Weghorst and Brownhill that had given Burnley a 2-goal lead at half-time. Corner kick for Arsenal comes in. There's an outswinger from Smith-Rowe, headed away, and then the ball volleyed straight back towards Smith-Rowe on that right-hand side. But it was a quick ball and he couldn't quite control it. It's away now for a Brentford goal kick. The third Burnley scorer, by the way, was Aaron Lennon. Great to see him getting back into the team and getting amongst the goals as well. As Shandon Baptiste now getting ready to come on for Brentford. Busy, industrious sort of central midfielder with more of a thought to go forward rather than to be defensive. Thomas Frank is just trying to tweak that midfield a little bit. Whether it's going to be, I wouldn't say that it'd be De Silva to go off. Don't think it'll be Norgaard either, because Thomas Frank tends to like his number 6 there. So I'm just wondering if potentially we might see a slight change of formation. Wait to see who Jean de Baptiste will be coming on for. It's 67 minutes gone here at the Emirates. It is Arsenal 1, Brentford 0. Independent off-tube studio commentary, and it is going to be De Silva. Well, he has been away for over a year with injury problems. He's only come back in the last couple of weeks. His appearance off the bench against Everton in the Cup was his first appearance in the first team for pretty much 12 months. So he still needs a little bit more time just to do a full 90. Shandon Baptiste now on in his place. And it's a throw to Brentford down the left, which sent back by Pinnock towards David Raya. Lacazette's getting close, so Raya clears that one down the left-hand side, straight onto the head of Cedric. Now Visser does well to win that ball back for Brentford, plays it in towards Janel. Back now towards Pinnock. And it's with David Raya again at the edge of his own area. Clearance up towards the halfway line. Ball gets away from Visser. Henry keeps it alive though, and now a great ball through the middle from Janel. Oh, that really was much, much better. A couple of disappointing passes from midfielder for Brentford this afternoon. They've had so few attacking opportunities, but this time you've got to say that it's one touch from Janel and a superb ball that is probably half a yard away from Brian Mbeumo. I don't want to criticise Mbeumo because he's getting onto it as quickly as he can while still being onside. But it really was a great ball from Janel, and if Mbeumo could have just got there half a step earlier, he may have been able to take that on the run and actually get a shot away from Ramsdale, who's already coming out of his goal as well. But it's not to be. It's those fine little moments there for Brentford. They've not had really anything in front of goal this afternoon. And here come the Gunners now down the left with Smith-Rowe under pressure from Sergi Canos. Back towards Kieran Tierney. Now it's with Gabriel and Ben White just inside the centre circle. Cedric over towards Saka down the right-hand side. So Brentford have made 2 changes. No movement on that Arsenal bench as yet. Just remind you that it's Nuno Tavares, Giroud, Hutchison, Holding, Tomiyasu and Ketia, as well as El Neni, Pepe, Lukonga and Leno on the bench for Arsenal this afternoon. Meanwhile, it's Smith-Rowe down the left. Oh, he skipped away from Canos. That was far too easy. Smith-Rowe into the 6-yard box. Strong challenge there from Pontus Jansson. And he puts it out for a corner kick. But once again, Sergi Canos, because he is a good player going forward, Thomas Frank does like to keep him in the side, but his defensive qualities, I mean, Smith-Rowe didn't even dummy him there. He just moved with the ball and Canos went the other way, and it's away for a corner kick after Pontus Jansson eventually taking care of the matter inside the 6-yard box. Good challenge there from Jansson as well. So a corner kick to Arsenal. They're into the teens now in terms of their corner kicks in this game. Whipped in towards the 6-yard box. Pinnock with the header away and now volleyed away. First touch of the ball for Shandon Baptiste. Mbeumo was chasing that one all the way to the line, but the ball is out for a throw to Arsenal. Under 20 minutes to go in this game now. And you just feel as though a second goal for Arsenal really would kill the game completely. Brentford haven't really looked close to upsetting the scoreline, even when it's 1-0. But the visitors just trying to perhaps see a little bit more of the ball in the last 10 minutes or so. And it's now back with Gabriel. Over towards Ben White, just striding a bit further forward. White now finding Saka down the right-hand side. Back in towards White again. Arsenal just looking to try and wear Brentford down here as Tierney finds Xhaka. Xhaka is blocked off, it's out, it's cleared, and it's out for a throw to Arsenal down the left. As we can see, various Arsenal substitutes warming up, wrapped up very warm. It's very cold across England today. And Nicola Pepe was one of the players we could see there. Really has been a tough time for him at the Emirates, hasn't really been able to show his best, or maybe his best just isn't quite good enough for Arsenal, certainly not consistent enough from Pepe. Mikel Arteta looks on, so he hasn't thought about making any changes as yet, with less than 20 minutes to go in this game. One now taken here with Tierney to Xhaka. Tierney goes down, they want a free kick. Arsenal, I think they've a good argument to say they could have one, but now Lacazette trips Canos and he gives the free kick away. Frustration there from the Arsenal man. Taken quickly by Ayer, and then it goes forward with Mbeumo picking it up on the right-hand edge of the penalty area. It's got limited options here. Mbeumo has to wait for support. It goes back to Canos, and then Canos finds Christopher Ayer. Oh, that's a poor pass picked off by Smith-Rowe, but in credit to Ayer, he quickly blocks Smith-Rowe to at least win the ball back. Throw on taken quickly, and Mbeumo now to Baptiste. Baptiste puts a good cross in, which is headed away by White. Loose ball drops to Norgaard, who scuffs an effort towards goal. That one is blocked and then cleared away, and then a slightly showy sort of back heel there from Lacazette doesn't find its intended target, and the ball eventually goes out for a throw to Brentford. Pepe, by the way, is getting ready to come on here for the Gunners, so it may well be Saka or indeed Smith-Rowe that will be getting the hook. Could potentially also be Odegaard, although I do think it's more likely to be Saka. Pepe does like to be that left footer playing on the right-hand side. As Pinnock now has the ball. By the way, the deadlock is broken at Selhurst Park. It's Crystal Palace 0, Chelsea 1. Hakim Ziyech with the goal for Chelsea there on 75 minutes. It's a big goal that's for Chelsea. A substitute keeper at half-time as well, with Gaeta having to go off for Palace, replaced by Jack Butland. There have been an injury there to the Palace veteran. Meanwhile, here at the Emirates, Brentford in possession. Baptiste with a great ball over the top, and Mbeumo isn't offside. He holds the ball up, needs some support though, tries to get a cross in, and in the end just loses the ball to some very good defending, it has to be said, from Gabriel. He didn't slide in, didn't panic, just made sure that he could win the ball back for his team, and he played out from the back as well. So top marks all round to Arsenal's Gabriel Magalhaes. Now it's with Odegaard. He finds Saka down the right-hand side. Under pressure there from Henry, back in towards Odegaard. Moves it up, looks for options down this left-hand side, plays it square to Tierney. Tierney then finds Smith-Rowe, just been blocked at the edge of the area, goes back to Xhaka. Xhaka inside now to Partey. Partey gets away from Visser, finds Odegaard, who plays the ball into the box, and Xhaka was following that all the way into the 6-yard box. Henry was trying to track on the right, and Canos was tracking on the left. And in the end, just did enough there to put off the man. But it is going to be a change here for Arsenal, and it's the goal scorer, Emile Smith-Rowe, that is going to get the hook on 75 minutes here. Smith-Rowe is off, and Nicola Pepe is on in his place. So Pepe on now for these not quite 20 minutes. I suppose if you include the injury time, it will be over 20 minutes. You've still got to play. A VAR review, by the way, at Selhurst Park. No goal for Chelsea, so it is still goalless between Palace and Chelsea. Ziyech was in an offside position. I'm saying that like I saw it. That's what I'm reading right now. But that's, in any case, the goal for Chelsea has been disallowed. So it is still 0-0 in that game, as it is at Villa Park with Villa against Watford. Still goalless in that game as well. As hearing voices that potentially there could be a third goal for Liverpool at Norwich, which would wrap the points up in that game surely. But Brentford haven't given up the ghost here yet, although they haven't really done anything to trouble Aaron Ramsdale. They're starting to at least trouble his defenders a little bit more in these last 10 to 15 minutes. Potentially that's why Arteta brought on Pepe, just to give another fresh worry for the Brentford defenders. But this is good play from Baptiste. Spins away from two players. Plays it into Visser. Visser trying to break into the box. Just gets held up. And then Norgaard's ball to Mbeumo. Just a little bit under hit. But Mbeumo somehow gets there. Finds Rico Henry, who's crosses charge down. Henry puts his arm up, appealing for a penalty. Referee not interested. And then eventually the ball is cleared by Cedric Soares. Ball drops to Ethan Pinnock, who then lets that ball bounce. There's a bit of a fight for it in midfield, and that's a real mistake there from Pontus Jansson. Leaves the ball here for Odegaard. His strike is stopped on the line. That's brilliant play there from Norgaard in the end, and he somehow stops Arsenal doubling their lead. But certainly it went from being a potentially dangerous moment for Arsenal's defenders to Brentford being under real pressure. This is a poor header from Ethan Pinnock. He doesn't really know where this ball's going to end up. Pontus Jansson spends too much time worrying about getting into a wrestling match with Lacazette. The header then eludes his own mate, and you have to say that's a great save from Raya. I didn't see that live, that there's actually a hand there from Raya that just deflects that ball away from goal after this placed left-footed effort there from Odegaard. And then a great sliding challenge there from Norgaard to stop the ball hitting the back of the net. But we have a goal elsewhere. I'll tell you about that in just a moment. But in the meantime, the corner kick for Arsenal is wasted. It loops over everyone and goes straight out for a goal kick. Watford have the lead now away at Villa Park with Emmanuel Dennis, who's been a big player for Watford this season. Nigerian striker, putting Watford up on 79 minutes in that game. We're on 78 minutes here at the Emirates. Most of the other games into the 80s now. And just to run you through the scores again: Arsenal 1, Brentford 0, Aston Villa 0, Watford 1, Brighton 0, Burnley 3, Crystal Palace 0, Chelsea 0, Liverpool 3, Norwich City 1, and Southampton 1, Everton 0. It finished West Ham 1, Newcastle 1 in the earlier game today. And coming up at 5:30, just under an hour to go now, as Manchester City take on Spurs. 2 games in the Premier League tomorrow. Leeds United against Manchester United, followed by Wolves against Leicester City. I myself will be back on commentary for that later game tomorrow alongside Saibala. But back to the Emirates. It's a free kick to Brentford down the right-hand side. Mbeumo standing over this one. And just waiting to see what options he has. It's a long way from goal, but a set piece at least gives Brentford half a chance. Arsenal, although we're taking precautions, their offside line is level with the edge of the D. Now it's Mbeumo floating one to the edge of the 6-yard box, but out comes confident Aaron Ramsdale to make a good save. Bowls it out quickly to Pepe, who was too much on the throw, so Pepe doesn't get it. But then that's really good play from Xhaka just to deflect the ball back into Pepe's path, and Arsenal now with a chance to go on the attack. Here comes Odegaard, sliding challenge there from Christopher Ayer. Great challenge as well, sliding in pretty much from behind, which is almost outlawed really, but he timed it to perfection. Wins the ball back for Brentford, and now it's with Mbeumo. Forward towards Visser. Visser tries to drop a shoulder, but Gabriel is wise to that. Wins the ball back for Arsenal. Good play there from Pontus Jansson to try and stop the ball reaching Lacazette, but Partey sweeps up the loose ball. He's through down the middle, finds Bukayo Saka. Saka with the strike! It's off the post and into the back of the net, and Arsenal with a 2-goal lead now at the Emirates, and that surely must wrap things up here with Bukayo Saka celebrating that one. Has to be said that the Arsenal players there surrounding Bukayo Saka, don't think there's going to be any kind of offside for the referee to worry about. The Brentford fans are furious. Brentford players are furious about a foul on the halfway line. Pontus Jansson isn't letting this one go. Let's just have a look. It's Visser turning at the edge of the area. He's dispossessed. And then when this ball is played on the halfway line, I mean, Pontus Jansson hits the deck after a collision with Lacazette, but I don't think there's any way that VAR is going to rule it out for that little push, particularly in this day and age where a little bit more physicality is being permitted by the referees. And as we know, VAR isn't as nitpicking as it was in its first season. Let's just see from this angle. I'm not even sure that's a foul. I think that Pontus Jansson, trying to get on the end of the ball, trips on Lacazette and then hits the deck. And it's a really good finish from Saka when he gets the chance. Tucks it into the back of the net, and that is game, set and match. Although Pontus Jansson didn't want to take no for an answer. It doesn't look as though we're waiting for any kind of VAR review. Well, we are. The referee hasn't quite allowed play to be restarted as yet. Meanwhile, getting word that there's potentially a second goal for Southampton against Everton. The third goal for Liverpool, by the way, was scored by Diaz. It's Luis Diaz, new signing, getting the goal for Liverpool. And confirmation as well, no surprise that second Arsenal goal has now been given. We have restarted play. 81 minutes gone, Arsenal 2, Brentford 0. Absolutely the right scoreline based on how this game has gone. Arsenal certainly looking the much stronger side today. Southampton do have a second goal, so Everton's problems under Frank Lampard continuing. Well, one of their former players, Mikel Arteta, will be delighted with that goal from Saka. Saka's having a good season. Had that real heartache and all the of course the social media, unnecessary social media abuse that he got after the penalty shootout last year's Euros. But he's a very, very popular Arsenal player. And on a personal note, he actually comes from the same sort of area of London that I do, and I even played in the same sort of junior league, albeit a good few years before Mr. Saka. But certainly very impressed to see him this season, looking very, very comfortable in that Arsenal side. I would say he's pretty much a permanent fixture in the starting 11 these days. As Shandon Baptiste now looking to try and win the ball back for Brentford. He's done what he can since he's come on in, Baptiste. But Brentford just seem a class behind Arsenal today. They didn't really seem like they were going to be able to match them for sort of possession and playmaking early on. And that just sort of established everything. And Arsenal been patient. Brentford certainly showed a little bit of a recovery in the second half in terms of pressing higher up the field. But now that second goal really has calmed the Arsenal nerves. And Nicola Pepe now down the right-hand side finds Odegaard back towards Cedric, right-footed cross, and Saka unmarked at the edge of the 6-yard box. Ball now laid off towards Tierney. There may be a free kick there in Brentford's favour. No, referee deciding not enough of a push there from Kieran Tierney. Ball is cleared, and now both managers now getting ready to make a change. It's Eddie Nketiah going to be coming on for Arsenal. He comes on for Alexandre Lacazette. So Nketiah, promising player who's just not been able to quite get a first-team place here at Arsenal, but they certainly think very highly of him. And I think there's still a chance for him to become more of a regular here in the Arsenal 11. But Nketiah getting ready to come on, and Sam Ghoddos, Iranian international, getting ready to come on for Brentford as well. This could be for Canos, this could be for Henry, this might even be for Vissa or Mbuema, but I would imagine that it might be one of the wide men that Thomas Frank wants to change here. Nketiah is on the field now as Arsenal's second sub. Ghoddos is also on the field here for Brentford, and it is Sergi Canos that he's replaced. So Ghoddos, who has scored a great goal for Brentford earlier this season, albeit it was nothing more than a consolation in a 3-1 defeat away at Burnley. And again, a player who hasn't quite bedded down into the first team as much as he would have liked, I think, is Sam Ghoddos, who has a chance to at least play a few minutes in this game at the Emirates Stadium. And just looking across, no changes in the other scoreline, so it is just a 1-0 left in the Premier League now. It's at Selhurst Park. Palace potentially going to have their second 0-0 draw in a row, having drawn at Brentford by that scoreline last weekend. Here come Arsenal again now, though. They're looking to try and increase their lead here. Pepe inside towards Odegaard. Good ball to try and find Nketiah. He couldn't quite control it on the run there, Nketiah. Pontus Jansson trying to clear his lines, but the ball now is back with Cedric. He finds Odegaard. Back to Cedric Suarez. Puts a cross in. Charged down by Rico Henry. Out for a throw to Arsenal down the right-hand side. And Nketiah instructed to give the captain's armband to Paul Tierney. following Lacazette being substituted. But this is great play from Pepe, skips past a couple of players. Oh, he goes down just inside the penalty area. He's not happy here, Pepe. Arsenal carry on with the move, and the ball is crossed in from Saka. It's just behind Nketiah. Partey now tries to measure an effort. That's a good strike. It's also a good save from Raya, because not only does he stop the ball going in, he actually catches it rather than just tipping it past the post. Camera now focusing on John Moss, and I do wonder perhaps if there was a question mark over this challenge on Nicola Pepe. He breaks into the box. Janssen, I mean, to say that he sweeps Pepe's feet away is probably too strong a statement. But having said that, does slide in, makes a little bit of contact with the man and makes no contact with the ball. A little bit reckless there from the Beast captain. Ball now back here with Christopher Ayer down the right-hand side. Plays it forward. It just gets away from Mbeumo. Vista doesn't give up on that, though. Was he taken out by Gabriel? The linesman says he was, and this will be a free kick to Brentford about 35 yards out. It's also going to mean a yellow card in this game, the first yellow card of the game for an Arsenal player. Janssen did get booked for his protests when the second Arsenal goal was given, but now Gabriel becomes the first home team player to get a yellow card today with that challenge there, as Xhaka still hasn't given up the ghost. He's still arguing with the referee John Moss over that decision. Not really sure why. It's not going to affect Arsenal too much as far as this game is concerned, but at least it's a set piece for Brentford and potentially a chance to try and test this Arsenal defence. It's left-footed Brian Mbeumo standing over this. Arsenal once again level with the edge of the D in terms of their offside line. This seems to have deliberately gone into an offside position. We need to check back once this ball is whipped in. But first of all, John Moss just doing a little bit of housekeeping at the edge of the penalty area. Just a bit too much pushing and shoving there between Pinnock and Gabriel. So here comes the ball from Mbeumo now towards the edge of the area. Not enough height on it. Easily headed away by Cedric. Loose ball recovered here by Mbeumo. Finds Janel, who then plays it back towards Shandon Baptiste. Baptiste now towards Rico Henry. And Henry trying to keep the Brentford move alive. Plays the ball over the top, which is overhit, completely overhit. No chance for anyone in a Brentford shirt to keep that in play. And it is out for a goal kick to Arsenal. Thomas Frank, be very keen to get his players back and prepare for the next game, because it's the next game that really matters for Brentford, at home to Newcastle. And if reports are correct, then that is the game where Christian Eriksen is going to make his long-anticipated return onto a professional football field. He's had a few training games and did spend a little bit of time towards the back end of last year training with Ajax as well. Fascinating to see him back in a Premier League side. But Arsenal, good job well done today, you would say. Never really looked in danger. As soon as they scored the first goal, you knew that it was going to be very hard for Brentford to try and get a goal back. And now that they have two, they can relax. Chelsea have a late goal. Hakim Ziyech has scored again. He scored on 75 minutes. The goal was disallowed for offside. He's now scored on 89 minutes. We'll see if there's any VAR saviour for Palace on this occasion, but it looks like Chelsea might have nicked all 3 points late on in that game. As Odegaard tries to break into the penalty area, he then fouls Christian Norgaard. Interesting, really, because it's Norgaard that hits it was Odegaard that hit the deck, even though the free kick was given against him. We've got our first full time, by the way, in the Premier League. It's finished at Anfield. Liverpool 3, Norwich 1. That is the full-time score in that game. Getting close to full-time everywhere else. This game, as I say, is behind everyone. We're the only ones not to hit 90 minutes yet. As Odegaard still needed a moment there just to compose himself, but he looks like he's okay to play on. And it will be David Raya to take this free kick for Brentford. Long clearance from him over the top. Plays the ball now straight onto Kieran Tierney, who heads it forward. Tierney's pass now is going to be a little bit too quick there for Granit Xhaka. Interesting, of course, there would have been a time when Xhaka would have been the Arsenal captain, and even if he wasn't the club captain, he'd be given the armband if the main captain went off. But after his disciplinary problems in the past couple of seasons, that option is no longer open. Still an important player in this Arsenal 11, though, is Granit Xhaka. And to remind you, Arsenal play their next game against Wolves at home, and they're away to Watford for a game at home to Leicester City, and then in mid-March it's Liverpool that turn up here for a midweek game against Arsenal. That will be a fascinating encounter. As far as Brentford, home to Newcastle before they play away to Norwich, and then at home to Burnley. So a massive 3 games now coming up for the Bees. If they could get 6 or 7 points even from that game. I'm just going to make I went on about the captain's armband situation. Just going back, we've just been shown a replay that actually when Nketiah came onto the field, he ran up to Xhaka and offered him the armband, and Xhaka just sort of said no. So maybe Xhaka himself has realised that that was the wrong option. But in any case, he didn't want the captain's armband. As the Arsenal fans just slowly filing their way out of the Emirates Stadium. Anyone who's ever been there will know that the queues for the London Underground really are quite immense after a game at the Emirates. I can actually remember one occasion where I walked from the Emirates all the way back to King's Cross just because it seemed quicker than trying to wait for one of those trains. But certainly some of the Arsenal fans making their ways to the exits now. They'll feel as though the job has been done. We're into injury time now, and slowly but surely other games drawing to a close now across the 3 o'clock Premier League kickoffs. As Ramsdale now just beckons his players to get a bit further forward. Still got around 90 seconds of injury time to play here from the allocated 3 minutes. On clearance now from Ramsdale over the top, looking for Eddie Nketiah. The ball just bounces away from him, and then Pinnock leaves it for Janssen, who's beaten to the ball by the pacey Nketiah. Under pressure here, trying to turn away from Rico Henry. Ran straight into him though, and now a chance here for Brentford to break out with seconds to go in this game. It's Baptiste. He finds Goros. Goros has the overlapping run of Aya. That's not a good ball, but Goros does his best to try and win the ball back for Brentford, and he does so, albeit drawing a free kick there from Bukayo Saka. It's all over at the Amex. It's finished at Brighton 0, Burnley 3. Weghorst, Brownhill and Lennon with the goals for Burnley in that game. It's also finished at St Mary's with Southampton beating Everton by 2-0, and it was Stuart Armstrong on 52, and then substitute Shane Long a minute after he came off the bench to make it 2-0 in that game at Brentford. With this free kick from the right-hand side, it is with Sam Godos. Arsenal again trying to make an offside line at the edge of the area, and Godos puts a ball in, which is headed away towards Janelt. Janelt sets himself for the shot. It deflects into the path of Norgaard. Norgaard controls it and drills it into the back of the net. The Arsenal players are protesting that there might be a handball in the build-up to that. Doesn't really matter if it was a handball. It was an offside anyway. So it looks as though the goal will not stand in these final seconds of injury time. Brentford looking to at least upset Arsenal's clean sheet, but it looks like even that is going to be disallowed now. And referee John Moss just checking with his officials there, but I think it has now been confirmed that goal has been disallowed. It's taking a little bit longer than we'd like, but as I say, can't get everything right with the VAR, and the conspiracy theorist in me tells me that sometimes with some of these VAR decisions they almost want to leave it a little bit debatable, just to still have that little bit of doubt, because I think that so many things in football are subjective. Things like offsides are not, of course. If there is an offside, there's an offside, but the offside now has been confirmed, so Brentford's consolation goal late on here won't stand. And really we should just be ending the game now, considering that we've had well over the 3 minutes of injury time. We'll see the replay now from a side-on angle when Godos puts this ball in. I don't think anybody's offside there, but then when Janelt controls it, and there's nobody offside there either, so not entirely sure, unless potentially... Well, this is taking a long time, but finally, even though it said on the VAR screen the goal was disallowed for offside, we can now confirm that the goal has been given, and there is no offside. So Christian Norgaard was level there when he put that in the back of the net, and Brentford have at least been able to get a consolation goal here. It is only going to be a consolation because really we shouldn't even be kicking off now as far as I'm concerned. As soon as Arsenal touch the ball to restart play, the referee really should be ending the match. But we'll see if John Moss wants to extend things ever further. It's now with Odegaard. Just rolls the ball back towards Aaron Ramsdale, and we play on for the next few seconds at least, until the referee decides that he's seen enough. And now he has decided that he's seen enough. John Moss calls time on the game at the Emirates Stadium, where Brentford have tried their best in the late stages, but it was always a little bit too little too late after a very confident start from Arsenal, who led early on in the second half after a very comfortable and a smart finish from Smith-Rowe curling into the bottom corner. Bukayo Saka then on 79 minutes made it 2-0 before Norgaard got that consolation in the 4th minute of injury time. It's all over at the Emirates. From myself, Paul Szczerbakowicz, thank you very much for your company, and do join us again soon.